This is the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel. My name is Randy Marshall. Joining us via the telephone, our financial expert, Harold Siegel. We're taping the show on March 30th, 2012. Our time is 8:39 in the morning Mountain, 10:39 Eastern. Radio show runs AM 640 in Toronto, 630 CHED in Edmonton, QR 77 in Calgary. If you ever miss a radio show, they are archived. You can be a part of our podcast now, HESradio.com. The podcast, the archive shows are there, HESradio.com. One of Harold's websites is HSFineAuctions.com. And on last week's show, we said that Harold was going to be doing an auction on April the 9th. But a lot of people are going to be off that day as a result of the holiday weekend. So we are moving it to April the 10th, 8 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Mountain. So keep that in mind. The next auction for hsfineauctions.com, April the 10th, 8 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Mountain. And Harold, pretty much the markets, we're going through a consolidation phase, moving within a band, and that's okay. I personally find this time of the year a good opportunity to add to your portfolio, start a portfolio of hard assets. You want to be getting involved in the market when it's quiet, consolidating, instead of chasing it. So many people end up chasing a market, and now is the time to get involved in hard assets.
You bet. Again, it's a very, very confusing time. The markets are trading within a range. When I say the markets, all the markets, gold and silver and currencies and oil and everything and stocks, because it's an election year in the United States. And in an election year, again, the markets tend to jockey for a position type of thing. And the fact is that the U.S. government, for example, does not want to see oil prices high at this time because it's an election year and President Obama wants to get reelected, and high oil prices is a major concern in the United States and all over the world. Let's face it, gas prices are extremely high. So what we're seeing is the market's basically trading in a range at this point here, and this week was no different. Gold held support. There's heavy support in gold at $1,625. When I say support, that's a term that's used when you're basically trading in the markets, trading in the futures markets primarily. Gold and silver and oil and currencies and commodities all trade on the commodity exchanges in New York and in Chicago. The way that they're primarily traded is by futures contracts. And futures contracts are very heavily leveraged contracts where you can buy, for example, 5,000 ounces of silver. That's a silver contract. You have to put up a portion of that as a goodwill deposit, and basically you gain tremendous leverage when trading in the commodity markets. We are not recommending that in any way, shape, or form. The markets are so volatile right now, with so much news coming out of Europe and the Middle East and all over the world at this point here, that the last thing we would like to see is the listeners to our show taking unnecessary risks and trading in the heavily leveraged futures markets. Those are short-term moves, and basically what we want to do and what we've always professed to do is to be in the trend. And basically we've been buying gold and silver and oil for the last decade now. When we first started buying gold back in 2001 when the show first started, gold was at $250. It's now at $1,650. It's been a tremendous move. That's over a $1,400 move in gold. But we have seen gold last year trade as high as $1,900, so we're about $250 below the high that we've seen in the gold market. The silver market's been the same. Silver market has gone from $4 back in 2001 all the way up to $50. It's trading right now in the $32 range, so it's about $18 below the high that we saw at $50. But silver is a very aggressive and volatile metal. The volatility in the markets are important. Number one, obviously those of us invested in gold and silver for the long term that own the actual physical metal, which is what we recommend. We want you to own the actual metal, not to be trading the metal stocks, the gold mining stocks and silver mining stocks. They don't move dollar per dollar with the gold and silver market. If you want to make the maximum return on your invested dollar, you buy the actual physical gold and physical silver. And my strongest recommendation is not to heavily leverage these markets because, again, you want to be in this market for at least the next 5 years. What we're seeing at this particular point, because it is an election year, is that the market is trading in its range. And again, there's certain things that I look at when determining which way a market is going to go. And when it comes to the gold and silver markets, one of the most important markets to watch is the relationship between the gold and silver markets and the U.S. dollar. Now, the U.S. dollar at one time back in the 90s was the strongest currency in the world. At this point, it's one of the weakest currencies in the world. And the fact is that the only reason that the U.S. dollar is trading fairly strong at this point is because of the problems in Europe with the sovereign debt situation and all that. However, we did see gold rally and silver rally a bit as the U.S. dollar is now falling again. Now, we did see that the U.S. dollar did break up close to the 82-cent level back a couple months ago, and that put a lot of pressure on the gold and silver market. But as we're trading today on Friday, the U.S. dollar is trading down at 78.94, so we've literally seen the U.S. dollar back off by about 2 to 3 cents. And that's extremely important because the U.S. dollar, in my opinion, is going to be an extremely weak currency because of the tremendous amount of U.S. dollars that are being printed to support the economy at this particular point and the $15 trillion debt that the United States is holding. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind, and people much smarter than myself are saying the same thing, that the U.S. dollar could be a doomed currency. What you really need to watch on the U.S. dollar as it does start to fall, and there's no doubt in my mind that the U.S. dollar will continue to fall, what you do want to watch is the heavy support levels and resistance levels for the U.S. dollar. First of all, you don't want to see the U.S. dollar break above the 82 to 84 cent level. That would be bullish for the dollar and bearish for the commodities markets, and I really don't believe that that's going to happen at this particular time. What I do see is a continued deterioration of the U.S. dollar as the Federal Reserve has to continue to print and print and print more dollars to resurrect the weak economy. And believe me, the economy in the United States is extremely weak no matter what they say on television. I'm a Canadian living in the U.S., and again, I trade these markets on a daily basis. There is no doubt that this economy is not getting better. The housing industry is still bad, and the fact is that interest rates are going to stay at zero for at least the next 2 years, which will continue to put weakness on the U.S. dollar. What we believe is going to happen is the U.S. dollar will continue to fall, and the most important number to watch on the U.S. dollar is 71.5 cents. Now, that's about 7 or 8 cents away from the market is right now, so we're sort of in the middle of where this market should be. But as this dollar breaks down, that's why we anticipate that the price of gold, as an example, will rally extremely strong. I do believe that we will see gold prices break above $2,000, and that could still happen this year because, again, it is an election year, so you are going to see volatility in the market, but I do believe that the U.S. dollar will continue to fall. And the U.S. dollar falling is the key to gold and silver prices going substantially higher. So as the U.S. dollar does continue to fall, watch for gold and silver to continue to rally very strong. And again, before this whole thing is over, we believe that the U.S. dollar will not only break that important level of 71.50, it'll also break down much further than that and possibly go into the 50 to 60 cent range. That's why we do feel that gold eventually could be a $4,000 to $5,000 metal or higher. The other markets that we watch very closely that do affect the gold and silver markets is the crude oil market. Now, the crude oil market we've traded for many, many years. In fact, as a commodity trader, I've traded oil for the last 30 to 35 years. I know the markets extremely well. I've traded them all those years. And basically what we had this week was the oil market fall off, and that was primarily because there was a buildup of oil stocks and a weakness in the market that caused the price of oil to drop to around the 103 level. We're trading up about 40 cents right now as we're trading on the day. However, there's two major areas and two major scenarios that will push the price of crude oil substantially higher. Number one is the imminent war that is coming in the Middle East, and there's no doubt that that is going to happen. You know, even though the U.S. has brought sanctions against Iran, Iran is furious over this. Their currency is plummeting, and basically these sanctions are taking hold. I personally find it very difficult to believe that Iran is going to back down and basically cancel all of their programs and everything that they've done to build nuclear nuclear power. The world is obviously concerned that Iran is going to create a nuclear bomb, and Israel is probably the most frightened of all countries because that's where most of their hatred is pointed towards, is Israel and the United States. So Iran is a major problem. Iran is strategically located on the Strait of Hormuz. They can block off entrance into the Persian Gulf, and that could cause the price of oil to go to about the 2 to 250 level or higher. However, without any problems in the Persian Gulf and without any problems with Iran, we're still extremely bullish on oil, and I think that a major amount of the oil reserves in Saudi Arabia and in that part of the world have been eaten up. And basically, because Iran's oil is off the market at this point, what you are finding is that Saudi Arabia is saying that they can overproduce and make up for Iran's shortfall. The numbers that I'm seeing don't point towards that as being a reality. So again, we're extremely bullish on crude oil. I think that crude oil will eventually get back up to the 150 level that we saw in 2008 before it was brought down to a ridiculously low number. I think that crude oil is extremely bullish, very inflationary, and higher oil prices with a weak U.S. dollar will point to gold prices and silver prices skyrocketing. Again, the only thing, in my opinion, that is holding back gold and silver from moving at this point is the fact that there is an election coming up in November, and again, that does affect the markets in a big way. All in all, we're still extremely bullish on the commodities markets, especially the hard asset markets like precious metals, and we do love the oil market also. The one thing is that's extremely important is that these markets do trade in trends type of thing, and the trend is always your friend. So you want to be in the market for the longer term. The next 5 years, we could see inflation at an extremely high rate because of a weak U.S. dollar and extremely high food prices and oil prices. So the game plan is basically, and has not changed for many years now. I know that by listening to the show every single week, and we've been on for over a decade now, sometimes the information, sounds like it's not changing. Well, the fact is that what's happening fundamentally around the world, it takes time for it to unravel. So what we do is we report to you every single week as to what is happening in the markets and what the potential is. Now, the fact is that because we are in an election year, we are seeing the markets trade, within a range, and eventually that will break out to the upside. However, the market could still go a little bit lower in gold and silver, and again, as long as you're not heavily leveraged, that's not going to hurt you. I see heavy support in gold at 1625 and at 1580. And even if it did come down to the 1580 level, it would not hurt the bull market in gold. In fact, gold could drop all the way down into the 1400s, and it would still not affect the long-term bullishness of the gold market. The silver market, there's very heavy support at $32, which is where we're trading right now. But the heaviest support for silver is in the $28 and $26 level. Again, we may hit it, we may not. But again, if we're not trading the markets in and out, it really doesn't matter. All we want to do is make certain that we have our positions in place, because we can wake up any morning and find the price of gold $100 to $200 higher and find silver $2 to $3 higher, and those days are in the horizon and they're coming very quickly. Again, a lot of it will have to do with what the oil market does short term and what happens with the U.S. dollar. The other situation is that the U.S. economy is not getting any better. The fact is that the stock market is trading slightly over 13,000, but the fact is that there's a lot of insider situations going on. You've got, the owners of the Wall Street major firms, touting the stock market that it's the place to put your money, but as they're luring investors back into the market, what's actually happening is that they're selling them their shares. So the people in the know are selling, and they're promoting the market so, people will buy the stock market at this particular point. The economy in the U.S. is pretty well in shambles. They owe $15 to $16 trillion. They can't pay it back. They have got to put money back into the economy in quantitative easing 3, which has to come up, even though they say that they're not going to do it at this particular point. But we've got a stagnant economy in the United States, and they have to do something if they want to spur any type of enthusiasm as far as bringing investors back into the market. The other thing that's extremely bearish for the U.S. dollar is the fact that the U.S. dollar has dropped so much and oil is priced in U.S. dollars, as is many commodities. So now what you're finding is that countries are starting to trade amongst themselves and not using the U.S. dollar as a reserve currency. An example of that is India trading oil with Iran in order to get oil. India is trading gold to Iran to get oil. You've got Japan and China actually trading their own currencies when they're trading with each other, when they always traded within U.S. dollars. So all this is pointing towards a tremendous demise in the U.S. dollar, which again, if it wasn't being supported at this point by the problems in Europe, we'd be looking at the U.S. dollar trading down at 72 cents right now, which would have put the gold market back up to about 2,000. Just because it isn't happening at this particular second doesn't mean it's not going to happen. If you look at the fundamentals for gold and for silver and for the overall commodities markets, the fundamentals have not changed in years. In fact, they've gotten stronger and stronger. The only thing that is hurting us this year and slowing the markets down is the fact that it is an election year in the United States, and the U.S. government does not want high oil prices. They'll do anything at this point to push down the price of oil, especially the closer we get to election time, because it'll show that the government is actually interested in reducing the price of oil. However, if the U.S. government was really interested in bringing down the price of oil and making it more economical for the consumers to fill up their gas tanks and fill up their at home to heat their homes and that type of thing, they would reduce the taxes on what they charge on oil. But they don't do that because that's revenue coming into the government. So the bottom line is that we're extremely bullish on gold and silver for the longer term. And again, with enough fundamental situations out there that could rally the price of gold and silver and oil tremendously, and we do still feel that that will happen this year. So on any pullbacks in the market, for those that are a believer in the hard asset market that you need to own physical gold, silver, diamonds, this is the time, number one, to take advantage of the market. And if the market does happen to drift a little bit lower, so you can pick up a little more physical gold and silver. Before this whole thing is over, we do anticipate that the price of gold will be in the thousands and thousands of dollars. We anticipate that the price of silver will be over $100 an ounce, possibly as high as $150 to $200 over the next 4 to 5 years. We anticipate that the price of oil will certainly break through the $150 level and possibly go as high as 200 or more, depending on what happens with Israel and Iran and the United States. But all in all, the fundamentals are extremely strong, and don't be confused by the short-term technical trading. Focus on the longer-term situation, which is extremely high inflation and an extremely weak U.S. dollar, and that's exactly where I'm putting my money. Gold, silver, diamonds, and cash with no debt is a way to get through these extremely scary and concerning times, and it is not the time to speculate. My suggestion is to be extremely conservative, especially going forward from this point.
I would really encourage you to get our free weekly newsletter. It's the companion to our radio show. We send it out via email free of charge every week. You can get it from Worldwide Precious Metals, www.pmc.com, their website, telephone number 1-866-623-2002. Harold recommends one company when it comes to investing in hard assets, gold and silver, platinum, palladium. We have a good story about palladium this week in the newsletter. Some people believe that it could outdo potentially gold this year. Get our free weekly newsletter. Speak with Worldwide about starting your own precious metals investment account today. They're there to help you maximize profit, minimize the risk. They're the experts in this very specialized field. They've been in business over 10 years. They've been through all the ups and downs of this bull market in precious metals. Speak with them, 1-866-623-2002, their website, www.pmc.com. We mentioned on last week's show that Harold was having an auction coming up on April the 9th. It has been changed due to the long weekend next weekend. I should mention that we'll be taping next week's show on Thursday due to Good Friday. hsfineauctions.com, next auction April the 10th, 8 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Mountain. Harold mentioned it during his commentary, and I had a chance to watch Charles Biederman. He's from Trim Tabs. He was interviewed on Bloomberg, and he was talking about the insiders selling stock. I was able to go and find a story that just came out a few days ago. It's in the newsletter. He said on TV, Bloomberg, that insiders are selling stock 25 to 1, selling for every share they buy, they're selling 25. And this is the quote from the story we have, which you can see in the newsletter. Well, corporate insiders are committing plenty of corporate money to repurchasing shares. They are massive net sellers with their own money. As Wall Street strategists are almost universally urging investors to load up on stocks, insiders are doing the opposite. In every market, the house has an advantage because they know more than the players. Who knows more about what's going on, them or you? And that, according to Charles Biederman, who's the head of Trim Tabs. They keep track of the stock market, make recommendations on how many stocks you could own, what type of stocks, and he's very concerned. In fact, he went on to say in this interview that the stock market in the United States, due to the Fed, is completely rigged. Some of the other stories that we should touch on before we get to some gold prognostications. One thing we haven't done in a while is give you some of the predictions from top analysts as to where gold and silver will be going this year. We've talked a lot about the fundamentals. Well, we're going to talk about where they see gold going here shortly. But one story I wanted to mention to you, and that is Art Cashin says if war breaks out in Iran, expect the Dow to plummet 1,000 points in one day. He's very, very concerned, and he thinks that you could see a massive spike in oil as well. The Herald has been saying it for a long time. That's why you need to own hard assets. If there is a strike against Iran by Israel or the United States, there could be serious ramifications. Bill Gross, he said this week, we have the story in our newsletter. In a delevering world where people are paying down debt, what you want to own, and it's a long story, you can read it. He's saying hard assets. That's right, he's saying hard asset. Also, Jim Rogers is saying you want to own hard assets in the age of inflation. Another expert, Gary Schilling, came out. He said this bullishness is ridiculous on stocks and houses. They're both heading for a huge fall. To invest in precious metals, to learn more about the markets that are hard asset based, as recommended by obviously Harold Siegel, 1-866-623-2002, Worldwide Precious Metals, or website www.pmc.com. Interesting, CNBC did a poll and they said gold, not stocks, wins over most Americans in the United States. 4 months into a stock market rally, and Americans are still going for gold. More so than real estate or even stocks, investors call gold the best investment, according to the CNBC All-American Economic Survey. Now, here are some of the prognostications that I wanted to get to. Goldman Sachs, yes, the evil empire, Goldman Sachs, saying over the next year they see gold going to 1940. Macquarie saying buy the dip. They believe gold is about to rocket to $2,250. Morgan Stanley predicting that gold could go to $2,175. The Aden sisters coming out and saying they see short-term $2,500. Also, we have this story in our newsletter, and it's a must-watch and read. Charles Nenner. He says investors who missed the gold rally need to be better educated. Well, we're educating everyone here in Canada and all around the world via the internet. Charles Nenner saying projects that gold is going to rise to $2,500 in the next year and a half. In addition to his big projection for gold, he expects silver to charge past the $50 barrier. During gold's last peak, Nenner says he sold some gold roughly at $1,900. He expects the cycles for gold and silver to bottom out, but pick up again very soon. Nenner recommends holding off until the two markets bottom out, which he states could happen sometime in mid-April, which we're basically at right now. He is of the opinion that both gold and silver are in similar situations, and although he had no specific price targets to buy each commodity, he recommends becoming long in 2 weeks. And if you miss out on the rally, Nenner thinks you need to be better educated. Also, there was a story And we have it in our newsletter. Simon Black and Donald Cox saying in a story, we have entered the most favorable era for gold in our lifetimes. And that is a must-read article. They're saying that gold is a must-have because of what's happening due to deficits in the United States and all around the world. Harold, it's sovereign debt. It's the jobs market in the United States, the housing market. Case-Shiller Index was down again. You know, you can't judge the economy on the stock market because the stock market, and I agree with Charles Bitterman, is completely cooked. It's rigged by the Fed, and you can't base the economy on that. We have about a minute left here.
You know, it's an unfortunate thing that we live in the type of world that this could really happen because, you know, you do your homework and you put up your hard-earned money and you think that you're making the right financial decision, and then all of a sudden, you know, this type of manipulation happens. I really hate to talk about that because, again, it's something that does happen. We know it does happen, but who in the world would trade in a rigged market type of thing? So it's unfortunate, but again, it's an election year. These type of things do happen, and as far as I'm concerned, you know, it'll all work itself out because the trend is always your friend. We do anticipate substantially higher prices in gold, silver, oil. We see a huge weakness in the U.S. dollar, which will push those prices higher. And again, assets like diamonds and our type of thing just do extremely well in a very highly inflationary market, and there's no doubt that that's where we're heading.
To invest in precious metals, 1-866-623-2002, the website, wwpmc.com. When we come back and talk about diamonds as the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel and me, Randy Marshall, continues right after this. Welcome back to the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel. My name is Randy Marshall. Joining us via the telephone, our financial expert, Harold Siegel. We're taping the show on March 30th, 2012. Our time is 9:07 Mountain, 11:07 Eastern. Radio show runs QR77 Calgary, 630 Chet Edmonton, and AM 640 Toronto. If you ever miss a radio show, go to Harold's website, HESradio.com. The shows are archived there, and you can be a part of the podcast as well. If you have an iPhone, iPod, I have both. You can set it up on your iTunes where the shows just come right in, and obviously they can sync up, and you'll be listening to our show at your convenience anywhere, anytime you want. To invest in precious metals, 1-866-623-2002. That's the only company Harold recommends, Worldwide Precious Metals, and they've been in business over 10 years. They're there to help you maximize profit, minimize the risk. They're the experts in this very specialized field, the only people to deal with on the precious metal side of things. wwpmc.com, telephone number 1-866-623-2002. Harold's website for diamonds is rarecoloreddiamonds.com, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, and here in the next couple of months, we're going to start seeing a lot of the big auction houses, Christie's and Sotheby's, having auctions. So we will have some auction results for you here starting in April and May. Harold's website, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, telephone number 1-800-432-1022, hsfineauctions.com, Harold's newly launched auction site. Next auction, April the 10th. We had said on the last show April the 9th, but due to the long weekend next weekend, we are changing it to April the 10th, 8 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Mountain. And our featured diamond of the week is, and this is a beauty, it's a 0.24 emerald cut fancy intense pink diamond. And think about it. The Argyle Diamond Mine is located in a remote corner of northwest Australia, and it produces over 90% of the world's supply of pink diamonds. Since formal records were first kept at the beginning of the 80s, prices for pink diamonds have increased in value by an average of 20% per year. Now, because of the high appreciation rate of a pink diamond, it has to be assumed that the sky may well be the limit once the Argyle mine does close. And they're talking about projected times 2017, 18, 19, somewhere in there, could be sooner. Rio Tinto actually even coming out this week and saying that they would actually like to sell their diamond business. And Harold, you and I, we know that is not a negative. It's just that there's so few diamonds and they're so hard to get. It's easier for them to go out and deploy that capital at another area and make more money. So it goes back to our thesis, which we've talked about for a long time. Scarcity of diamonds is going to be a huge factor going forward.
You better believe it. It's extremely bullish. You know, we know that the Argyle mine is going to close down anyways because it's been in operation since 1985. It's the largest producing diamond mine in the world. However, most of the diamonds that they produce are not sellable diamonds. They're industrial white diamonds. They're most famous for their pink diamonds. 95% of the world's pink diamonds come from the Argyle mine in Australia. And the thing about it is that the mine is going to close before 2018, and there will not be any more pink diamonds of any quantity whatsoever. Not that there's that many pink diamonds that come out of the mine. You're talking one of the rarest diamonds in the world that sometimes sell in the multi-millions of dollars. But again, this mine is going to close, and if you're one of the fortunate few to own an Argyle pink diamond, I think you're going to make a ton of money. We believe that the price of these pink diamonds over the next 10 years will increase 10 times what the prices are today. We saw a similar situation with blue diamonds when one of the major mines closed, and we saw within 3 years the price of blue diamonds went up 700%. So we're very, very bullish on the diamond market. We're very, very bullish on Argyle pinks. In fact, we're the largest dealer of Argyle pink diamonds. There's only about 200 carats a year that come out of the Argyle mine. These are the most beautiful small pink diamonds you've ever seen, and they're extremely valuable. In fact, it's the most concentrated form of wealth in the world. You could literally walk around with a $10 million diamond in your pocket and nobody would even know about it. That's how rare these diamonds are. Now, most of my clients do not invest $10 million in diamonds. They don't invest $1 million in a diamond. Most of my clients invest under $50,000 in diamonds, and I'm very, very strongly recommending that this is an asset that you definitely need to own. Number one, they never ever decline in value, so they're a very safe asset. Number two, they increase in price by about 25% a year, so they double every 4 years. But in the case of these Argyle pinks, there's not going to be any more of them, and the prices will increase substantially the closer we get to the mine closing down. Now, Rio Tinto, who owns the mine, says that they will try to keep the mine open till 2018. But judging by what we're seeing, the quantity and the quality of the diamonds are diminishing greatly, and I don't believe that the mine will stay open longer than 2016, which is only 4 years from now. So if you were to buy an Argyle pink diamond and invest in an Argyle pink, by the way, we ship the diamond directly to you. You own it outright. They're all GIA certified, have all the certification papers. These are amazing assets to own. And the fact is that if you just put it away in a safety deposit box, or we could put it into a beautiful piece of jewelry, and your wife could certainly wear one of the most beautiful diamond rings you'll ever see in your lifetime. Well, this is an asset that does nothing but go up in value. In fact, these diamonds, when they do go to auction, they just sell for an absolute fortune because they're extremely rare. You can get involved in Argyle pink diamonds starting in and around the $20,000 to $25,000 range. Now, not everybody has $25,000 to invest, and investing in diamonds is not for everybody. The fact is that, it's a more expensive investment, but again, it never ever loses its value. They go up by at least 25% a year. And again, in the case of the Argyle pinks, when the mine does close down, those diamonds can go up 8 to 10 times what today's prices are. Meaning that if you bought a $50,000 Argyle pink, it's very possible within the next 10 years that diamond's going to be worth close to $500,000. Now, we not only deliver these beautiful, gorgeous diamonds directly to you, we also sell the diamonds for you when the time is right to do so, and we're the only company that can do that for you. Not only do I own RareColoredDiamonds.com, my company that sells beautiful colored diamonds, but we also own HSFineAuctions.com. Now, this is a live, real-time auction site, and we built it for our clients to sell their high-end collectibles and rare colored diamonds. So this is an amazing site that I'm extremely proud of. It took us 2 years to build it, and it's not like an eBay site or any other site that you've ever seen. This is the only live selling auction site in the world, and there's nothing close to it that exists except for HS Fine Auctions. So on April the 10th, the day after Easter Monday, we will be holding an auction. It's online, so it's really exciting. What you need to do is you go to H for Harold, S for Siegel, HSFineAuctions.com. First of all, look at the catalog. We're offering some amazing pieces at the auction coming up next Tuesday. We're auctioning off some beautiful coins and some magnificent diamonds. The first item up for bid is going to be the Pope silver ingot. It's the Prophet of Peace. It's a magnificent coin. We've got the 2003 Mini Outback Collection, which includes a beautiful silver coin, a gold coin, and a platinum coin. Again, you can read all about it and see the certificate of authenticity. We're also auctioning off a Wildlife Series proof set. It's a 4-coin silver set with a 2-ounce, 1-ounce, half an ounce, and quarter ounce of pure silver. It's absolutely amazing set and beautifully displayed. We've also got the 2003 Year of the Monkey 1-ounce typeset collection, which is going to have 4 magnificent silver coins. And the Year of the Monkey, you'll read all about it if you fall into that birthday category. It's really a spectacular set to own, and these sets do nothing but go up in value. But the highlight of all the coin sets is going to be the 2003 Year of the Monkey 5-coin set. Included in this set, which is really spectacular, is a kilo silver coin. A kilo that weighs 32.15 ounces of pure silver. There's also a 10-ounce silver coin. When have you ever seen a kilo or a 10-ounce silver coin in the same collection? There's also a 2-ounce, a 1-ounce, and a half an ounce coin. Their face values are $30, $10, $2, $1, and 50 cents. They're 99.9% pure silver purity, and these are the most beautiful coin sets that you'll ever lay your eyes on. Again, one of the coins is a kilo of pure silver, and the other is 10 ounces. Those 5 coin sets will be auctioned off, and judging by our last 4 auctions, all these coin sets sell and sell very, very well. There's going to be a 0.31 carat, round, brilliant, fancy, purplish, pink Argyle diamond. Round Argyle pinks are amongst the rarest diamonds that you can ever get. In white diamonds, the round diamonds are common. In the colored diamonds, they're the most difficult to cut, and they add a tremendous amount to the value of the diamond. There's also going to be a 0.35 carat emerald cut, which is a very, very rare cut, fancy, intense, purplish, pink Argyle. You can see the videos and the GIA reports on our auction website, HS Fine Auctions. There's also going to be one of the highlights of the entire auction is a 0.36 radiant cut, which is a square cut diamond, fancy, vivid, purplish, pink Argyle. These are the most sought after diamonds in the world. The vivids are the best color. They're extremely close to red, which are the most expensive of all diamonds, and this magnificent, vivid, purplish, pink Argyle will be auctioned off on Tuesday, April the 10th, which will be one of the highlights of the auction. There's also going to be, in my opinion, one of the most amazing rare diamonds you've ever laid your eyes on. It's a heart shape, fancy deep pink. It's almost red in color, and heart shapes are extremely rare. They are so sellable, and this is a magnificent diamond. I don't think that more than 2 or 3 of these type of diamonds exist in the entire world, and we are going to auction off one of them. It is going to be one of the highlights of the entire auction. We're also going to auction off an 85-point fancy vivid yellow internally flawless diamond, one of the best yellow diamonds you could ever possibly buy. So this is going to be an amazing auction. And the fact is that we built this auction site for our clients to resell their high-end collectibles. There's not another site that exists like this in the world, and I built it for my clients. I'm so excited about it, and this is our 5th auction, and they've been extremely successful. So again, we're the only company that has been able to create a secondary market to resell high-end collectibles. You know, we're all collectors. We all collect something, whether it's baseball or hockey cards, whether it's art, whether it's stamps, whether it's coins, whether it's diamonds, whether it's whatever. The fact is there has never been a site that existed like this that created a secondary market for reselling these type of assets. So again, I built it for my Canadian clients to resell their high-end assets, and it's working out extremely well. So we're very excited about our 5th auction coming up. It's on April the 10th. It's a Tuesday, and it's at 8 o'clock Eastern, and it's at 6 o'clock Mountain Time. What you would do is go to hsfineauctions.com. You would go to the catalog section and look at what we're offering. You're going to be blown away with the pieces that we're auctioning off. And then you go to the Getting Started section, where you'll fill out the pertinent information and you'll be issued a password. Then you can go onto the site, and the only way that you can either participate or view the actual auction is to fill out the pertinent information and get your password. If not, you're not going to be able to participate. Now, you don't have to bid if you don't want to. On our last auction, we had 600 people on the site, 400 people watching, 200 people bidding. So again, if this is your first time and you just want to get comfortable with it, go onto the Getting Started section, fill out the information, and at 8 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Mountain next Tuesday, you're going to be able to, that's on the 10th of April, you're going to be able to watch and participate in one of the most exciting opportunities that you've ever seen in your lifetime. So again, I'm excited for all of our listeners to the radio show to be able to see this and to be able to participate, and these are some of the greatest assets that you could ever possibly own. Now, we've talked a bit about Argyle pink diamonds. Last week on rarecoloreddiamonds.com, we offered an unbelievable diamond. We offered one of the rarest pink diamonds, and it was a near flawless Argyle pink, and it sold immediately. In fact, the last 5 diamonds on the featured diamond section have all sold the next day. So you want to pay attention to the featured diamond this week, and it's all on video. When you go to rarecoloreddiamonds.com and you look at the featured diamond, it's a 24 point, so it's about a quarter carat emerald cut, which is one of the rarest cut diamonds. It's a fancy intense pink, which is one of the best colors you can get, and very rare. It's graded by GIA, the Gemological Institute of America, as a VS2. Very seldom do they ever grade a pink diamond on its clarity. It's mostly graded on its color only. But in the case of this diamond and the diamond that sold last week, these are near flawless diamonds. Very seldom do diamonds like this come onto the marketplace, and these are the type of diamonds that will skyrocket in price the closer we get to the Argyle mine closing down. So you want to pay attention to the pink diamond market. You want to go to the loose diamond section of rarecoloreddiamonds.com. You want to look at our selection of yellow and pink diamonds. These are the best investment diamonds you can buy, and they're still reasonably priced. That's why I'm recommending these diamonds. As I mentioned before, you don't have to spend $1 million to invest in a diamond. You can make an awful lot of money with a $20,000 flawless yellow. When you go to the yellow diamond section, you're going to see 3 different colors of yellow diamonds. You're going to see fancy yellows, fancy intense yellows, and fancy vivid yellows. Those are the 3 best colors that you can get. And all of our yellow diamonds are internally flawless, which is the best that you can possibly get. So our diamonds are of the highest quality and the best color, and those are the diamonds that go up the most in value. In fact, yellow flawless diamonds are such an important investment. They never ever decline in value. They double in price every 4 years, but this is extremely exciting. During times of extremely high inflation, like 1979-80, these diamonds went up 500% in value in 2 years. So basically, because we are very bullish on the hard asset market, we do believe very strongly that inflation in the next 5 years is going to be extremely heavy. You want to own these diamonds, and within the next 5 years, a diamond that you can buy today for $20,000 can turn out to be a $100,000 diamond within the next 5 years. The other thing about them is they never ever decline in value. In the 35 years that I've been in business, we have never ever seen a decline in the colored diamond market because there's so few and far between. There's very, very few of these diamonds exist, especially the internally flawless yellows. Again, you can get involved in the yellow flawless diamond market starting at about the $15,000, $16,000 level and go up from there. And again, you do not have to spend a fortune in which to make an awful lot of money in the diamond market. And to show you how safe these investments are, my 2 young grandchildren that are 8 and 5 both own yellow flawless diamonds put away for their future. They don't know about it, but it's put away in their safety deposit box. My children, when they were growing up, my oldest son bought his first house based on a diamond that my wife and I gave him many years ago. So again, with the world the way it is financially, with the sovereign debt situation in Europe, with the potential of countries going bankrupt, with the potential of currencies going under like the euro and possibly the US dollar, with inflation, looking like it's going to be rampant over the next 5 years, these are the investments that you need to own. To put away a rare colored diamond and put it away in your safety deposit box for safety, it's the only asset that could be sold in another currency, and it's the only asset that you could put into your pocket and cross a border and start all over again if you need to. So again, we own rarecoloreddiamonds.com. Please visit our website this weekend and look at some of the most beautiful yellow and pink diamonds that you've ever seen. These are the best investment diamonds, and they're reasonably priced. The other situation that you want to look at is HS Fine Auctions, and make certain that you sign up for the auction coming up on the 10th of April. It'll be one of the highlights, and you'll really enjoy yourself, and there's some phenomenal buys. So, again, we're extremely excited. Look at our beautiful diamonds, but there's never been a more important time than now, with the world in such financial chaos, to own an alternative investment like a diamond that is extremely safe, never falls in value, doubles every 4 years in price, and during times of high inflation can increase 500%. We very strongly recommend you get some of your money into the rare colored diamond market, and when it comes time to sell that diamond, again, we own HS Fine Auctions to sell that diamond for you. We charge 10% of the profit, so if we don't do well for you, we don't do well ourselves. Again, I've been in business 35 years. I know this business better than almost anybody.
We have about 3 minutes left in our show, Harold. hsfineauctions.com, next auction April the 10th, 8 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Mountain. Rarecoloreddiamonds.com, 1-800-432-1022, 1-800-432-1022. And definitely speak with Harold about investing in diamonds. The featured diamond this week, a beautiful Argyle pink, 1-800-432-1022, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. Take a look at hsfineauctions.com. With about 3 minutes left, a couple of things I wanted to get to. These are from the newsletter. If you'd like to get our newsletter, Speak with Worldwide or Harold, they'll be happy to send it out to you free of charge by email every week. Ben Bernanke saying that accommodative policy is needed. He's talking about quantitative easing. And he said that this week, he's very concerned about the unemployment rate. Bill Gross coming out and saying the Fed may hint at QE3 in their April meeting. They expect quantitative easing in the future. Also, the sovereign debt crisis in Europe continues. Huge concerns now with Spain and Portugal. Portugal, according to David Kodak, is unraveling. And in fact, over in Spain, it's a huge concern. You can see those stories in our newsletter. In the U.S. Debt and Deficit section, Providence in Rhode Island is going bankrupt. That's right, Providence, Rhode Island is going bankrupt. On the housing side of things, I mentioned the Case-Shiller Index. It dropped in January year over year, fell in the 20 cities that they follow, 3.8%. But this is the key point here now. Robert Shiller said suburban home prices will not rebound in our lifetime. You heard right, not in our lifetime. Also, in the stock market section of our newsletter, I mentioned last week that Apple is skewing the stock market, and we have a chart to prove that and information to back that up. As well, coming out this week, Andrew Smithers saying that the U.S. stock market is overvalued by 50%. Get our newsletter, Speak with Worldwide, 1-866-623-2002, wwpmc.com, rarecoloreddiamonds.com for Harold and Diamonds, telephone number 1-800-432-1022. Harold, with about 30 seconds left. As a lot of the people we've mentioned on the show already today have said, now is the time for hard assets.
You better believe it. And again, it's never been more important than it is right now. There's so much concern worldwide about what's going to happen going forward. All we want is for our Canadian clients to be safe, to have the safe investments. Now is not the time to speculate. It's time to be smart and gear ourselves up for what's coming, which is going to be massive inflation and extremely weak currencies. I want to wish everybody a wonderful weekend and a very profitable day.
Thank you, Harold. And don't forget what we talked about during our show. Charles Biederman of TrimTab saying that corporate insiders are still selling stock on a massive, massive level. So be very careful on the stock market. Everyone pushing for you to get into the stock market. Insiders are doing the opposite. They're selling very, very heavily. To invest in precious metals, speak with Worldwide, wwpmc.com, telephone number 1-866-623-2002. On investing in diamonds, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, 1-800-432-1022, and hsfineauctions.com. The next auction, April the 10th, 8 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Mountain. That's it. Another edition of the World Financial Report on radio with Harold Siegel and me, Randy Marshall. We will talk to you next week.